Ready to do that one? It's for sale. One this way. Yeah, and then we'll get started. You're so crazy.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Welcome to the April 11th, 2024 Conservation Commission meeting, and we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, Sue, can you do the roll call, please?
Certainly.
Oh,
Tom Jones.
Here.
Juliana Tyson. Here. Jeffrey Goldknopp.
Present.
Ellen Snyder.
Here.
Melissa Sharples. Here. David Bell. Here. And Brian Ward.
Here.
Okay, I know Colin couldn't make it, and Jess, and I think that's everybody.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so, and congratulations to Tom, he's now a full member. Yay!
Congrats.
And I think, Julie, you renewed?
Yes.
Renewed too for 3 years, so we have a full membership today, but no alternates tonight, so.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay, do we have anybody who wants, from the public, who wants to comment? If you're here for like the master plan discussion, you can talk then, but does anybody want to say anything?
Sorry, I'm just watching.
No problem. Glad you're here. Thank you. All right. So one of the things we need to do is elect officers. This is our first meeting after the elections. So we have a chair. I've been serving as chair, and Melissa has been serving as vice chair. And then we have a few committee appointments. I think we're both willing to continue in those roles unless somebody else wants to step into one of those roles. Happy to have a motion.
I nominate you both for the positions you are currently in.
Okay, thank you. Do you have a second? Second. David, second. Any discussion?
Thanks for showing up.
Nobody else? Nobody else? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Okay, if we could make some committee appointments. I think we have to renominate everybody. So, Julie, are you still interested in being on the Energy Environment Committee?
I am, but I haven't, if there's anyone who has more time to do it, I haven't made it to the last two. But if that's okay, I can make it when I can and report back what I see on email. I'm happy to keep going as the representative if no one else is.
Okay. Anybody else take her, or want to nominate Julie as continuing as our representative to that committee? All right. Melissa, second?
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Julie.
Yeah, no problem.
Let's see. I know Sam Kenny, he is no longer a member on the Conservation Commission, but he is chairing still the Riverfront Advisory Committee, and there's not an actual opening right now on that committee, so he wants to continue as our representative, and that way he's officially on that committee, if everyone's okay with that, and he'll come provide
He's had it
updates.
from the beginning. I mean, it makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah,
If,
like that.
I'd like to nominate Sam for that,
I'll
continuing
second.
that. Okay, second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Great.
Thank you, Sam.
Jeff, you're our rep from the planning board. Brian, you're continuing as our rep from the council. You
Yeah,
guys?
nothing really changed, so it looks like, it looks like our committees are going to stay the same, though we still have to confirm it.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
I was reappointed Tuesday.
all right, awesome. Continuing on with our great team. All right, I think that's all the appointments. If anybody can think of anything, we'll do it next time. We're going to move, look at the minutes next meeting.
Yep.
So we're going to move on to the financial summary. Okay, so for the Conservation Fund, our balance is $134,811.31. The Shanda Fund has $4,621.11, with a total of $139,432.42. We got some interest, as we usually do. We got the $550 from LCHIP, which we talked about last time, which got deposited this past month. We paid for the folks who did work on the Wigan Farm kiosk interpretive panel, so that got paid out. And we're still doing some expenditures for the kiosk itself, which we'll talk about later when we talk about our workday. And I did a few repairs on the bridge, which I think we talked about last time, using the money we'd approved for the kiosk, because we're not going to spend anywhere near that money. So some of those went into effect recently. Any questions about the Conservation Fund? Okay, the general fund. Our balance
there.
is what's that?
Lots of money there.
Yeah, $1,880.71. We got some interest and some of Sue's time. There's something I want to talk about related to the general supplies, but we'll talk about that a little bit later since we got a lot to cover up front here. So any questions on the general fund? So remember, this money will expire at the end of June, so we have 2.5 months left. Okay. All right, master plan update. We are ready for our crew here. Welcome.
Hello, Bart McDonough, Planning Director, Town Newmarket, and with me is Scott, and then Nadege Masabuku is here as well, helping us out to continue our visioning week. So if some of you I haven't seen this week, so I'm going to do the spiel. Visioning week is building off of what we've done so far since this fall. And really kicking off things on March 16th with our visioning workshop. And prior to that, we had a housing survey and a open space survey, which had a nice response, as you see on the screen. And also we had a well-attended workshop of 48, and then the survey 429 response. So that gave us this word cloud that you see there. I think that's mostly from the, is that mostly from the survey or from the workshop? Okay. So more frequent the words used, the larger they are. So some of this will be refined as we do quality and control to add some context, like the McDonald's and whatnot. But as you can see, housing opportunities, attainable, a lot of different words, good words, describing how we should move forward in Newmarket, what we wish for Newmarket.
That is McDonald's, I see on there.
Yes. I think the context there is the redevelopment of that lot at some point. There's a whole history of it being vacant for a long time. Yeah. So it's more of a Newmarket joke
Land use is
than anything else.
There is a restaurant there finally.
There is, yeah.
Next place, so.
Next place, yes. Anyways, so we're just trying to build off that success that we already have through our public participation events. And so now we have Vision Week at the Riverfront Advisory Committee, Planning Board, Master Area Plan Subcommittee. We did a similar exercise and really got really good opinions and ideas and discussions. I had discussions on, how do we move forward as a town? What do we want to see? What we learned in the past? What have we done? What successes? What are our challenges? And where are the opportunities? So now we're continuing that here at Conservation Commission. So the real general goal here is we're going to do a broad vision kind of exercises, lay out where you would like to go, where you would like to see the town go in 10 years, 20 years. And then we're going to focus more on open space conservation aspects, as well, land and water conservation. The highlighted texts you see in the master plan chapters are those kind of visioning focused topics that we have done so far. So for instance, Riverfront Advisory Committee did downtown riverfront. Conservation is going to do more land and water conservation, planning board housing, and then the master plan subcommittee kind of did the inverse and did the vision, but if there was anything else that we weren't talking about that was highlighted, that was the time to do that. So what we're going to do today is we have about 4 different exercises that we're going to run through and to help us create that vision. So with that, Autumn is going to help us facilitate, myself and Autumn will help facilitate these exercises, and I think we'll have a good discussion. So before we proceed, are there any questions? Okay, let the journey begin. Oops, there we go.
So this is just a quick slide of instructions for how the activity is going to go. I'll pose a question. We have 3. And then I'll give you a few minutes to respond on your sticky notes. And then we'll come around and collect them. And then I'll read out the responses and sort of see what's rising to the top, what's repeated amongst your responses. And then we'll have a little discussion on what we think, if we want to elaborate on our responses, what's resonating with folks. And then we'll repeat the same process for the next question. And we'll also use some sticky dots for one of the questions instead of having you write out all the same words that are written up here. So our first question for you is, what are the first 5 words that come to mind that you would use to describe Newmarket in the next 10 years?
So this is aspirational.
Yes.
What would you like to see? Not the pessimistic. Well, no, doom and gloom. That's going to happen. So
Zombie apocalypse?
that's right. Yes.
None of
So
that.
we would like you to see the best case. What would you like this next 10 years? What are those 5 aspirational words that you'd like to see achieved here in Newmarket? So you get the sticky notes, and then we'll come collect them. 2 minutes, and then we'll put them up on the board.
Is the next one gonna be 7 words, and perhaps we can make a haiku? What? We could.
One just hand it to me, and then do this way. Oh, you're the writer. That's right. That's right. Okay. Time's up. Here we go. So, I'm gonna say, I think it's you. I think this is your handwriting, Brian. So we're gonna start with you, putting you on the spot. Can you remember your top 5?
Yes.
Memory really close. Yes, right. There's a lot of calling out with this exercise, so. Yeah.
Can I retract the swear words?
Yeah. It's encouraged. Yeah. So I think this is yours. Housing, affordable, happy, green, friendly. Yeah, great. Any of those, is this your top 5 or are you just like more random?
It was more when you were talking about
Yeah.
aspirational, you know, just, well, I was gonna say affordable housing, as you see crossed out with the
Yeah.
two words.
Yeah.
So, but, you know, more housing, making the town itself more affordable, not just the housing part, but making, you know, everything around more affordable. And happy, you know, just the general, we want a town where people are, you know,
Yeah.
feel welcome, feel good. Now, I also kind of moved into the friendly bit. The reason I wanted to move here was when I was coming to this town to see my friends. I found it really easy to talk to people and interact with people. It was a real friendly community. And green, I mean, we're up with Conservation Commission, so environment, it just seemed like a good fit to it, so,
And happy too, I like that.
yeah.
It's good, actually. Is this more business to help tax loads? Is that you? Yep.
611.
Yeah, that's true.
All right.
No, it's good. So you want to like just describe that, like ideal situation?
Well, ideally, I think more manufacturing or companies in the local area.
Mhm.
Because it seems every year the taxes go higher and higher, basically because it's all residential of, you know, the biggest percentage in town. And so I would see, or hope to see more business.
Just more diverse use of land uses, you know, to help that tax load.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Great. I think this.
Can I ask a question related to that?
Sure.
Who owns the industrial park?
There's multiple owners.
Okay.
So,
So it's not town land, like?
no,
Okay.
nope. Most of that has been subdivided off.
Okay.
Yep. Used to be a corporation, and then they sold them off and bought. So, I think before that was a gravel pit too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so things to do, Melissa. Community involvement, clean, better water, less growth,
Yeah.
slow growth.
The growth thing, I think, is along the same lines. I think we can't continue to add people and not have anything else on the other end to support the tax base. I think the real estate prices are just out of control.
Mhm.
And then the water, my water has always been discolored, and I've heard folks say that. And I
Okay.
think we're working on the pipes, right?
Yes.
We were working on Church Street or Chapel Street or something like that.
Yeah, so there has been an effort
Yeah.
throughout town to update,
Yep.
you know, and remove very old pipes.
Yep.
I know on the hill up here, it's definitely very old pipes.
Yep, yep.
Um,
And as far as community, I think
Mhm.
there are, you know, groups and some things to do, but I think that there could be ways to bring a lot more people together as a town.
mhm. Okay. Yeah, I think that was a commonality, I think, the last meeting, you know,
Yeah.
what do they call Old Town Day, something like that.
Yeah, we used to have old
Yeah,
home
we
weekend
still have
and-
Backyard Bash right now,
Yeah,
stuff
and I
like
think
that.
that's what it turned into, yeah,
Right.
which is great.
Yeah,
I think it's a lot of people trying to do their civic duty and then everybody else on Facebook who thinks they know
Yeah.
the way it should be, right?
right.
I think if we came together a little more often, then people would be less hostile to each other. I think,
Thank you.
yeah.
See if your answers change, Helen.
Few.
Okay.
Conservation tonight.
Yeah, right, okay. We got rural character, downtown,
No, that's not me.
that's not you?
No.
Okay.
Sounds good, but
Okay, resilient, nature, connectivity, pedestrian friendly, and sustainable. Any noteworthy ones you like to highlight on that?
I think we talked about this last night a little bit, but the resilience in the face of, you know, weather events, climate, and making sure our communities, you know, hardened off, improving drainage and bridging and all that, culverts, all that stuff we've been talking about a little bit
Gotcha.
here. Connectivity for people as well as nature. So again, wildlife, places for wildlife go, places for people to get around on whatever non-fossil fuel thing they want to get around on. Nature is like green. I wanted to say open space, but that's 2 words, so I
Yeah,
said nature.
well, you can hyphenate it, it'll be fun.
What else did I say?
Sustainable.
Yeah, that's, kind of a common word, but
Yeah.
kind of gets to sort of that conversation about how much housing do we really need or want, how many people can we sustain. We're actually a pretty big town population-wise, and our roads are not really built for a lot more traffic. So it's not just housing units, it's the traffic that comes with it. It's we're talking about open space. Doesn't really cost the town money except initially, but we've gotten a lot of grants. But if you have houses and buildings, you got fire, you got police, you got schools, you got whatever, all the stuff that goes.
So the
that-
externalities of.
Yeah, there's a lot of cost
Yeah.
to infrastructure. So, yeah.
Great, thank you. Hey, Jeff. Now read them out, now. Road character, downtown, is that population growth, did I say that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Connected trails, vibrant, peaceful. So, out of those 5,
What's that?
out of those 5,
Oh.
is there anything you want to elaborate on that really resonates with you?
I guess so. I guess I meant more, when I said connected trails, I should have been less specific. More of connectivity, different opportunities for people to move about on bikes, on foot, on public transit. It's kind of what
It's
I was.
like multimodal transportation
Yeah, that's
networks.
kind of what I was thinking, but I was thinking on the spot there.
Yeah,
That's okay.
it's good. You did good.
But,
No, and you guess other one, vibrant, peaceful. Downtown population growth. So yeah, it's good.
Kind
Thank
of
you.
along the lines of Ellen, like keeping population growth closer to the center of town,
Gotcha.
where those different types of connectivity might be available.
Gotcha. So it's more like, if I understand correctly, like where we are, have already impacted. We have our growth areas, like
That as well.
concentrating in those areas, like in the corridor or something like
I like the word peaceful. I hadn't heard that yet.
Yeah, this
Houses.
town usually feels quite comfortable,
Yeah.
quite peaceful, walking around. Doesn't really feel like I don't know, external pressures.
that. All accessible trails, free, connectivity, affordable. I think it's this transit. Is it affordable transit or just transit?
Affordable.
And transit, okay, just making sure. And community, later nights. Yeah. We're gonna have to go to the State House to change that.
Well, that just has to do with there's nothing open past 10 except for Oak House.
Yeah.
You know?
I got you, all right.
Get a drink
We
from
don't
a
even
friend.
get, we don't even get the one.
Yeah, I guess if you want to walk up the hill.
So out of those words, like I said with other folks, anything you really wanna, that resonates with you wanna express, elaborate on?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm always an advocate for traveling on horseback, but I just have a dream of being able to safely get downtown, either driving a horse buggy or riding my horse, which would be a really cool experience, and communal too, because wherever I go on my horses, it kind of brings people in. I ride to the Newfields Country Store often, and
Yeah.
people are stopping and want to say hi and get a photo. And then, if it's safe for horses, it's safe for people, it's safe for bikes. And then Jeff had also mentioned public transit. I know that has kind of disappeared from Newmarket, and I think it's an important piece of any town to have something to get around with, and sustainable as well. And we're a hot spot from getting to Durham to Epping, so cutting down on traffic that's
Right.
crossing through would only benefit everyone.
Gotcha. Absolutely, thank you. All right, Tom. Got
I
conservation.
didn't write that.
You didn't write that? Person who may or may not be Tom wrote conservation connections among all towns.
So what I did was I took one sentence and I made a 5-word sentence.
You
out
were
of it.
not wrong in this exercise. Yep, you were right.
That's where the haiku came from, but I'd like to replace mine with Brian's. I really like Brian's.
Very good. Awesome. Okay. So, we're hearing all these, sentences, adjectives, aspirations. Are there anything, based on what other people said, anything come to mind that we're missing or just want to add to this exercise before we move on?
I think when Melissa was saying, because this came up last night at the end of our discussion about sort of social inclusion and, getting people connected and having more, we talked about the Heritage Festival, and there's not really enough because people are in there, on their stuff, and it's easy to, not communicate well on those. And I was thinking about, are there things that we can do? We do some stuff, but, doing more experiential stuff out on the conservation land, or doing walks, or getting people out. I mean, we're doing stuff in terms of interpretive signs and trying to make the trails better, but actually having events that bring people out to those places, I think would be great.
I would just second that, Ellen. I think I had mentioned it in another meeting, like if we can do something more regularly. I'm happy to lead bird walks. I've mentioned it to another board I'm on too, but this would probably be top priority to just do something around here. And community also resonates with me too. Like you say, we get ourselves off of social media and connecting in person more. And I feel like there's a big divide between like one part of town and the middle and the other side. So just finding ways to connect more people.
Yeah.
Great.
I guess if I could add one more word to mine, I would have put like, it's hard to express in a single word though, like harmonious, like a better like balance between humans and nature, where the town does more through potentially, regulation to help better protect natural things like animals and habitat, as opposed to just like all we really have are wetland setbacks. I think that is most of some drainage stuff.
So it's almost
But like more of a balance there, because most everything is human driven. Like
I think it's more than just, I think you touch upon it, and I think I know you're trying to get at is that we discount it. We give it you need to be, like you said, setback from this, a wetland, and we think of it as just a piece of, area that's, has hydric soils, and that's it. We don't understand, we don't give it the life that it is, the value that it has upon our community. So, or the respect maybe.
wildlife and endangered animals.
Right.
Like
They're benefits that it provides to the community.
Right. I would say balance, but it doesn't speak to what balance I'm thinking of. So, eco-harmony. I don't know
Right,
if
but
it's harmonious, but no,
it's almost, guessing how can we be more advocates for them? Maybe. I don't know, maybe that's not it, but, something to that effect.
I like kind of treating those areas as living, breathing things that, need help.
Right, but
Our
understand-
support,
Yeah, but, to Jeff's point too, it's like, it's all, how can we find that equilibrium?
holistic approach.
Yeah, holistic approach.
To me, it's a good thing to be in the vision of the town to like strive towards, I guess,
Right.
but it's not a single word.
Right.
I think the more we
Reciprocity.
build, the more we're just going to encroach and make it worse for those areas,
Right. It could be that, but it could be also if you're building somewhere, you may offset it too. So it's almost like you're pulling levers as well. But if you're building somewhere as well, understanding what the consequences are. So, it's really hard to do in this field, but I think, as Jeff pointed out, as a vision aspiration, we should be thinking about these things. So it's more of keeping it in our conscience, more so, than in our subconscious in a way. So, or in the ether, and not really referencing it or bring it to the table. So,
I mean,
Not to speak
does
for
that mean, like, what does that mean, though? Does that mean the town council keeping it in mind when decisions are being made, or?
I think it's just more, planning, for zoning ordinances, for, site plan review, for conservation easements, or if we're gonna conserve land, if we're gonna develop land. I think it's always a variable to consider for decisions, potentially. Maybe not all decisions, but, for those affecting the environment, making sure.
I think a big piece of that too, Jeff mentioned it, is
You wanna come?
maintaining the growth areas that you already have and keeping the density there instead of continuing to sprawl outwards into your natural spaces.
Or making real life changes, I think, too. Like, if you have a high habitat or endangered habitat or unique habitat, endangered species living somewhere, or it's a wildlife corridor, maybe there's a section of a road that we lower a speed limit on.
Yeah.
Or we figure out a way to provide a safer passage, or, I think there's like real world things we can do.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know if you could create overlay districts for wildlife, like we have for wetlands, can we do stuff like this in certain parts of town, I feel like it always takes such a backseat to human activity. And then it's like, because we can theorize about stuff, but really, people will live up to the edge of the regulations and develop up to the very edge of the regulations.
Prioritizing biodiversity.
Yeah.
I think, like we bring it to the forefront.
Sue?
One of the things that I noticed in the planning board applications when people come with the site plan and they've marked off the wetlands, it's almost like it was up to the surveyor to just mark off the wetlands. And they're not thinking about what those wetlands, when they ask to encroach in it, we've set them pretty high. But they're not thinking about what it is that's living there. And what their structure or their site plan will do and pathway, not looking.
And what it means for the
That's
town,
a
what it
corridor.
means for the town
Yeah,
or the
what it
people
means for
around
the
them.
corridor the town to block it off and not give what lives out there a place to move their
Mhm.
traffic. And I particularly thought of that during the senior housing, that they were not going to encroach on the wetland. Okay, but where did those animals that used to go through there go now?
This one across from Grant Road, or, yeah, I drove by there the other day. It's
They're
so
already-
wet. I can't believe
They're
it's,
already putting in gravel for the road and making
it's just,
But that just means, okay, those animals out there living along the river have nowhere to go.
yeah.
It was either, something, there's housing on the other side, so where do they go? They go toward Dave, that way.
Well, one of the things we talked about at the planning board meeting, because this sort of came up, that, a lot of big projects, whether it's a big housing development or senior housing, whatever, the developer comes in and says, okay, I'm gonna do this, this, and this, but then it's sold like 3 or 4 times, and then it becomes somebody in Texas owns it.
Yeah.
So there's no local care. They don't,
Yeah.
they don't care, because they don't live here, and they probably didn't care maybe before either, but, so we're left with, it's not, I think, impacts on wildlife, because I'm a wildlife person, so I totally support all that. I think there's more of an impact on human infrastructure too that we're not paying attention to, because it's going to flood there. I
Yeah.
think it flooded there, back when we had those floods, and so who's gonna, what's gonna happen when that happens? Who's gonna pay the price for that? So,
And when those places are wet, like I have a field, right, my field's soaking wet, there's frog eggs just in the middle of the field now. So they use those
whose
areas.
backyard is wet?
Yeah, everyone, yeah, exactly.
Newmarket's wet. I think
Who
I've
has
said
a
that
new
before.
puddle?
It's just a wet place.
Yeah, no, so all great things to think about, again, it's finding that balance, as we have in these conversations, because there's a lot of different interests right now for the town. So, it's really good to have these and discuss, where are growth areas, where are preservation areas, and then once we determine that, then we can act accordingly for the implementation. So, really encouraged by these conversations. Help us think this through and move in the right direction that we want to go in.
You just need to come to me when you need something. I will tell you.
Okay. Thank you.
The one thing that happened last night was I was curious about what properties still remain to be built out.
Sure.
There was a big discussion at the planning board meeting about what's still out there to do
Yeah.
that has been approved, they've got vesting, and they're gonna be filling in stuff. I thought particularly of the property, the Cheney property on 108, that is Walter Jr.
Yeah, it's,
And it's
yeah.
gonna be this
Private road.
combination of, what got approved was a combination of apartments, 3 or 4 townhomes.
On the north end?
Uh-huh.
Down
No,
south end.
South end.
Beyond
So,
the-
right
beyond
after the railroad tracks, on the right.
Oh,
On the
yeah.
right, that big empty
Across the
place.
street, yeah.
It's got storage stuff on it. And he's also got, so he's got commercial on the bottom floor, apartments above, and then townhomes, and nothing's happening.
No, and, we're learning through, conversations and whatnot, because of that, a lot of these aren't being built just because of financing. So there's
Yeah.
outside forces,
Yeah.
so the plan, or the town has approved units, but they're just not being built for a number of reasons. Typically, it's, it doesn't pencil out ultimately. So, so they just, unless they don't get vesting, but majority have.
Is that what's happening down on 33 down here by the old, just past St. Clair's? Across from the old funeral home?
Yeah.
Oh, that one?
That's the one, that's the one they're talking about.
Oh, I
No.
thought you were talking down here on Railroad Street.
No, railroads.
Oh,
He's
okay.
actually demolished.
So there's a couple, yeah. So you got Railroad Street that was recently approved, and then, yep, so South Main, you have 60 Exeter, that, front lawn right there. And then on Bennett Way, there's 2 of them, I think. One is right on 2 Bennett Way, there's 12 units approved there, and then up the hill, there's one more. That has been there for a while, and that one probably won't most likely be built because there's a condition from DOT that a light will have to be installed, a traffic light. So again, cost prohibitive. And then I think on Bay Road is a really old one that won't get built because it won't pencil out and it's just in the wetlands.
Is that
present.
Cheney's?
Yeah, that's the other one. And those will come to mind at the moment. So yeah, I think there's over 100 units approved, just built. Probably more if you count the Cheney development off Bay Road. So, yeah. So, the town's approved them, they're not being built, so we just got to understand, what can be built. So maybe it's more small scale developments, that keep, it's local people building them.
Yeah.
Smaller units.
Is there anything that the town can do to I've heard so much online about apartment properties getting gobbled up downtown by outsiders and things just not, rents going up and things aren't being maintained. Is there any just recourse that the
So,
town would have
town
for
can't-
for private property like that?
No.
No, town can't say who.
Gerard V. Allentown in 1987, he can't, and it set prices for rent in town, and I think it also was arbitrary to prevent people buying property in town.
Yeah, it's a constitutional issue.
Yeah.
So we have another,
Yes. So, in front of you, before we get to the next slide, oh yeah, here we are. So there's a vision statement in front of you, printed out. This is from 2015, and I'll read it into the record. But what I want to do before we get to this 5 themes is go through this, because I thought this was really good exercise. We did this at planning board, and have a conversation of, do you like this statement, and what do you like about it, and what should we change about it? So I'll just read it out loud. In 2025, Newmarket continues to encompass the characteristics of a traditional New England coastal town that offers residents a high quality of life. The historic downtown is in the heart of the community and supports a diverse business mix that helps sustain the local economy. A multimodal transportation system provides residents with a variety of options, public transit routes, improved sidewalks, and an extensive bike network are strategically connected to allow for access between downtown and adjacent neighborhoods. Newmarket offers attractive and affordable housing opportunities that are compatible with the town's existing development and character. New development is focused in areas that already have infrastructure and is intelligently designed to reduce negative environmental impacts to the Great Bay and surrounding watershed. The community is more resilient against coastal and riverine flooding, in large part due to local land use policies and regulations that reduce risk and vulnerability. Newmarket's valuable natural resources and open spaces are well protected and offer outdoor enthusiasts a variety of water and land-based recreational opportunities. Residents and visitors benefit from small agricultural activities that offer access to fresh local foods year-round. A strong sense of place is maintained through an active and engaged citizenry. Public involvement during civic activities generates enthusiasm and promotes innovative planning for the future of the town.
Sounds like what we just talked about.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, huh? How, it's kind of the same values at the moment, it seems, a lot of these conversations. And aspirations, I should say. So, with that, we're going to do just two questions. One, maybe just one, because I think we all understand most of this we like. I don't think, is there anything that no one likes about this statement? Yeah.
Just that it says, where it says local land use policies, I think there should be a hyphen between land and use, but that's just editor stuff.
That's just your editor, your editor brain. Yeah.
I might, the first paragraph talks about access between downtown and adjacent neighborhoods, that connectivity, and I know we've talked a little bit about connecting to other towns, and maybe that's what Tom said earlier.
Okay.
So maybe there's something about connectivity to other communities. And maybe something, a little third paragraph about the whole biodiversity, ecological health, sort of that, to really put it up front in the vision. I don't think I want to wordsmith it, but the idea that we want a healthy ecology and protect biodiversity and wildlife.
I think maybe something we can think about is, do we add more language for something more like a harmonious, a balanced community?
Yeah.
Something like that. Something to that effect.
Yeah.
Because I've been hearing that often, or rhymed. Okay. So, I think if no one has any other comments on this statement or anything to add to it, we'll move to our next exercise. So, what we're going to do is go one by one, and we would like you to choose 5 themes that should guide Newmarket's future. So, the idea for this master plan formatting as we develop it is creating themes, and these 5 themes would be in each chapter. So for instance, vibrancy and housing. So you would have these, or vibrancy in the downtown riverfront. Cultural diversity in downtown riverfront and housing, and economic development. So, choose what you think you would like those 5 themes to be. I think afterwards, and then a lot of these words may mean different, you might be definitions for each different person here. So that's okay. As we go through this, we'll, kind of refine those terms once we, as a group, decide which ones to go with. So, I'm going to do some calling out. And I'm going to ask you to choose the Your top 5. So we'll go with Tom.
As a word by itself, what does vibrancy mean?
What's it mean to you?
Okay. Nice one. Nice one. I like that.
Game we're gonna play.
Okay.
Come back to him.
So we'll start at the other end. How about that, Tom? Brian, you want to start?
Sure. I would say affordability, resilience, social inclusion, economic opportunity, and I feel like connectivity would probably be the next one, but it also feels like that would also kind of fall under social inclusion, economic opportunity, because, I mean, economic opportunity doesn't just mean, people live in town, make money in town. It means they can go, work outside of town, get back easily. It means if they need to go shopping somewhere, they can go somewhere without necessarily having to have a car. And I know affordability is a big thing, and I actually kind of tied that to age friendliness, because, I mean, I think we all know that in recent years, this used to be a big town for, UNA students, a lot of UNA students like myself ended up coming here after school, because this is like the most affordable town in the seacoast, but that's frankly no longer the case, as evidenced by the fact that they stopped sending their UNA flat-cat transit here. So I would figure like if we can make the town more affordable, that would make it more age-friendly to younger people. I realize that's probably being more for like older people, but we do need new people in the mix.
Hello.
Want to say it or you want to do it?
Oh,
Yeah,
hello.
we're going to have Ingrid answer that question.
Answer this.
Yeah.
The retired teacher in me brings me to this point that age friendliness can mean all ages. For students looking for a place that's affordable to live as they are transitioning into a working career, my daughter is just 30 now, and at that stage where, can I afford to buy? I've been working for 6 years, I need to. But age friendliness is also for those young people who say, oh, I'm at the point where I want to have kids. Is there childcare close? Is there affordable childcare? Is there a space where we can have a spare bedroom because the crib can get kind of noisy at night? And not just age-friendly for somebody like me who's saying, I need single-story living, or I'm ready to move into a condo because that slush last Thursday was nasty to shovel off my driveway. So we need to look at a wide range of age-friendly, not just looking at that as senior-friendly when we say age-friendly.
Thank you. I'll just add a point of resilience. I kind of put that into like the environmental factor, just, with climate change and looking to the future, we need to be able to handle, God forbid no more pandemics, but, resilience maybe is a very important thing for us to go forward with in our environment, whatever.
Right. So,
I also started watching the Fallout series, so I'm also concluded.
Can I ask you another question?
Yeah, sure.
And maybe I missed this. Where did this list come from? Is this from like the word cloud exercise, the workshop?
Yeah, so part of this was brainstormed with town staff and SRPC team, and then part of it was based off of feedback from the workshop. We did have people vote on these terms and see what rose to the top, and so now we're kind of vetting that through, and then I think after these discussions maybe we'll have a more refined or more expansive list to approach the community in another survey and get wider support. So
Thank you. You're up, Dave.
I'm still just reading the list. I guess affordability is a good one. And the social inclusion, the age friendliness, and also cultural diversity. And I've only been in town for 3 years, but it seems like there's a lot going on in the town for the size. And I'm sure there could be more. But if I look at other towns, the ones I came from, it says, there's a lot more. So I don't see a big improvement there, but sidewalks around, they're kept cleaned off well. I'm surprised, in fact, sometimes after a storm, you can actually find sidewalks already cleaned. It's almost like they're clean them before the snow ends. I guess that's about all I can come up
Great.
with.
Yeah, thank you.
I am gonna say age friendliness, because I know that there are plenty, I mean, all ages, but I know the senior housing is an issue, and people are being taxed out of homes that they've owned for 50 years. I'm gonna say vibrancy, because I think that that encompasses a few things on this list. I think it encompasses cultural diversity, social inclusion, connectivity. You know, the more people have access to things and each other, the more of a sense of community that we're building. And the more people are gonna meet each other and enjoy living here. Definitely economic opportunity. I do think we need more business in town. What's that, 3?
2 more.
Affordability and connectivity for a trail system.
Ellen?
Connectivity, resilience. I think I did, we'll do accessibility since nobody's picked that one yet. I think that's similar to affordability. You can look at those words in different ways. I'm going to violate the rules a little bit and say open space
Okay.
and healthy ecology.
Yeah, look
Yes,
at
the last
Ellen just
night.
broke the
I broke the
glass.
rules.
Yeah.
You rebel.
On our last night of doing this.
Do I put a dot on
That's right. I think you might have been the
I
first
did,
one.
2 dots.
Well, then, to heck with affordability.
Yeah.
McDonald's.
You have to put my dots down
No,
there.
no, no, no.
Yeah.
It's been improved.
Great.
I have to rethink on whole strategy. Does anybody else need to read this?
Sorry,
Um,
I just thought it was a little downtown centric.
I'll go with connectivity, resilience, accessibility. Age friendliness and healthy ecology.
Another rule breaker.
Good.
I'm gonna go with connectivity, social inclusion, age friendliness, resilience, and healthy ecology.
Resilient.
Ellen's a
And,
trendsetter.
and more late times instead of evenings.
Have you ever been to a caucus, presidential caucus? This is what you do.
I haven't known.
Come to.
Lobbying.
Like the old town meetings.
All right. Okay, Tom.
Connectivity, resilience, affordability, accessibility, and economic opportunity. I stayed I colored in the lines.
Yes, you did.
We got a little club.
Okay, Autumn, what we got for our top 5?
Top 5 are connectivity, resilience, age friendliness, affordability, and then we have a 4-way tie for social inclusion, economic opportunity, accessibility, and healthy ecology.
So, right now we'll do choose your own venture. Do you want to go for now what that number 5 is, or we're just gonna leave it as and we can pick it up? out of those 4.
Oh, I'll see, okay, so what do we got? So we get to pick, this is like a real game.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
We
Yeah,
combine them
So
to
the
be
rest, we
social
get to pick
ecology.
our,
Top 4 are
Accessible.
age friendliness, resilience, affordability, and connectivity.
And out of those, we have to pick one?
No.
No,
No.
like, we're missing our 5th.
We're missing our
Oh,
5th.
okay.
no, we have resilience, right? We have the top 3.
So what are the ones
So
we,
we're voting on the.
So-
Accessible economic social ecology. There we go.
Yeah.
So we're voting for the bottom 3 to find out who's the
Yeah,
fifth.
Yeah,
Okay.
the next,
Yeah.
Put a check mark next to the box, the blue dots.
Yeah, the
That
ones we're
we're
choosing.
Yeah.
we're choosing.
We've already chosen.
No, we've already chosen those.
Yeah.
So what do we need to focus on? The 3s, right?
Social inclusion, economic accessibility, and healthy ecology.
And I think, I mean, this is my bias, but I would say age friendliness to me incorporates accessibility and social inclusion.
Mhm.
That's kind of the whole idea of it.
Yep.
And then you kind of also, we've spoken about
I-
connectivity and
how does accessibility address age friendliness?
when I think about it, I think of like. So, like, my favorite example is to think about your infrastructure and thinking about what kinds of people are excluded from using your trails, you know, thinking about are there placed seating along trails for people who can't necessarily take long walks?
I was thinking about public accessibility to water, which can be incredibly broader than that.
Yeah, that can be a broader definition. So, and perhaps that speaks also to healthy ecology.
Or just sidewalks that go from, you know, stretch further out.
Yeah, connectivity.
So I think as we're seeing, there's a lot of synergies here,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
I mean, if we're gonna place our next vote, I would probably say healthy ecology. I would say economic opportunity, but then it kind of also falls under like affordability. So I would say my extra vote will be for ecology.
Yeah.
Bonus points, okay.
Yeah.
Get bonus
Good
points.
day,
Bonus
pick
points.
one.
you need to vote for one.
Economic opportunity.
Okay.
Oh, I thought that was already in.
No, it's
No.
we gotta
no,
select
we
it.
have to break the tie.
Don't make me do it.
It's okay. There's no wrong answer.
I'm gonna go,
I vow.
yeah, really.
This board, but you
I'm volunteering you to answer this question.
Damn it, Jim. I'm gonna have to say economic opportunity.
Alan?
Healthy ecology.
Jeff?
healthy ecology.
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 Healthy ecology.
Oh, there it is.
There it is.
Yeah.
Well, I
The
voted,
Conservation Commission.
That's right.
We'd be
We will
remiss.
revisit this
We'd be
topic.
remiss.
We've met
well, I was
before
looking
this.
at that from, if you have a sick ecology, everything else is gonna fall apart. Everything else.
Could be
What's
social
bad for the
ecology.
hive is bad for the bees.
Right. And also you can think of social ecology, you know,
Yeah.
just think of ecology more broadly like that, so.
I mean, does
And I
that,
do-
sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and I do feel like affordability also kind of ties in with economic opportunity. For something to be affordable, you have to have economic opportunity. So I'm just kind of rolling those two together in my head, so that's why.
That's right. So this is the, you know, kind of this, like in this process, kind of how we're refining. We're starting to create definitions for these terms. And so yeah, so we'll revisit this. Stay tuned. Thank you. Okay, next exercise. What will Newmarket's open space look like in 5 and 10 years? Another sticky note exercise. Aspirational.
We're gonna be called on.
You're going to be called on, and so be prepared.
If you want to speak more broadly to like water resources
Yes.
and other natural resources, feel free.
Right. So I think we're going to broaden this a little bit to land and water conservation. So how the chapter is set up, so that can be open space, water resources, natural resources, recreation, stuff like that. Preservation, conservation. So 2 minutes, please.
This is a statement, right, not words, 5 words?
Yeah. Yeah, just what it would look like. Right, or you can do 5
Haiku.
words. Yeah, you could do the 5 words, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
500 words or less.
Is there anything healthy in college?
Yeah, that's right. New Roman times.
Hey, that answers everything, Alan.
Works for me.
That could be.
Was it five things, or just?
No, I just did 5, because that's fine.
I used purple since I know we're gonna be, we can't be anonymous, so.
That's the best I've ever read.
I did have a blue star that said.
Don, ready to be first?
It doesn't matter, sure.
All right. Every development project will include open space. Very good. And anything you want to add to that?
I mean, every kind of development project must include, even if it's not next to the site, must include some open space.
Can I ask a question? Would you consider, almost like I don't know if it's possible, like a development mitigation fund instead of, because some.
Yeah, I don't care.
You know what I mean? Like,
There's all kinds of ways it could be worked out. An offset, like an offset payment, a mitigation fund. If you don't have the land to go with it, I do like the idea of high-density development with its own open space. I mean, I do like that idea, but there'd be all kinds of, where it's not practicable, what are your options to accomplish this? Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking, because if development's driven into town,
No,
then there's no open space, but they could help go to a fund.
Well,
that's like-
that's what I mean, either they could donate a parcel out next to another conservation property, or put money into
Almost
a
like an
fund.
impact fee,
Yes,
but for
yeah,
use of preserving.
yeah, I'm
land,
sure there's all
like-
kinds of neat ways to work something like that out, but the concept would be that.
Something came to mind, you know, when you and Jeff were discussing, it's like, what if developments more designed their developments, their housing more around the open space in mind first?
I'm sorry?
Having developers or developments, when they're designing something, they design it around the open space
Yeah, I mean,
first and build
the
from there.
sky's the limit, I was really not,
Yeah, I'm just thinking
Defining
like
what-
kind of,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it
Yep.
triggered some thoughts for me too, just what ways could it work if there's no room where the development is happening, what could the money go
Buy
into?
it somewhere else, or put
Yeah.
money in a fund,
And
or
something that comes up for me too
make-
is the
make
agriculture
sure you have
piece was
green
in our
roofs. I
vision.
mean, I don't
Yeah,
know.
how can we, support just a more healthy system, yeah.
it's just if you want to develop and you want to participate in economic development, open space is important to the health of the community. And as you impact, I think you ought to help with the other part of your impact.
So it's kind of like going back
I mean, yes, I'm providing jobs, well, that doesn't give you a pass, you know, to everything.
And once it's developed, the jobs are done,
Well, whatever, yeah.
yeah.
It's kind of going back to that point, creating that equally harmonious,
Yep.
you know,
Right,
you know, you do something here, then it's offset by, you know, those funds could preserve something else or contribute to open space preservation somewhere else
it's
in town.
important to the whole health
Yeah.
of everybody.
So, interesting thought. Thank you, Tom. Judith?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I gotta read it, huh?
I don't have it in front of me anymore, Bart.
After 8
Oh,
o'clock.
boy. Oh, boy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't remember.
All right.
I said healthy ecology, that's all I
that's
know.
right. All right. Resilient, connected, healthy ecology where the town is prepared for the effects of climate change and extreme weather, and our biodiversity is prioritized and protected.
A life statement.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Any?
No further thoughts?
No further thoughts? Good. Thank you. Yeah,
Dots.
Mic drop.
yeah, dots. Everyone gives that a dot?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, thank you. All right, Jeff, we got flora and fauna. So on the level of respect on par with economic, social growth.
Society.
Yeah. So yeah, that's nice. That's a good statement. It's kind of back, circling back to your thoughts of protecting those areas, but also understanding where growth should happen, those areas that should be protected, and
Or
we should be mindful.
these things should be given a lot of weight and respect is given to human development. You see all of our regulations are kind of tailoring the weight. We develop our land, utilize our land, but not about what's on the land prior, what's there, what animals corridors and whatnot. So that those, like you're saying about, the land, the development down here on South Main Street, take into account that it's a high traffic wildlife corridor, that should have just as much value as more human housing. I know it's
Yep.
a strange thing to say in the United States, but
No,
in some places, animals have human rights, people rights, it's a
Right.
thing. So, I'd like to see our culture work more in that direction.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Alan?
but can we still carry guns?
It's in the Constitution.
Hold on now. That's not one of the dots.
Yeah.
Don't go there.
Yeah, that's right. Right. Moving on.
Wrong chapter.
Did I say that out loud?
What meeting is this?
Restore, Alan said restore aquatic
Aquatic.
passages, clean water for people and nature, connected, protected open space, trail connectivity, and wildlife friendly. Anything you want to highlight there?
Not really, no,
Okay.
it's good.
I think I misunderstood the assignment.
No, I don't think there was any rules on this
There's
one.
no rules in this
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
allowed.
You're good. So more. You got the pessimistic. What's gonna happen? You think, right? And that was aspirational. More. What was that? Constitution.
Oh, I think, talking about, potentially involving the Conservation Commission or, another entity in any other decisions. Like if someone were to come to the zoning board and say, hey, we want to put a 30-unit place at the end of Grant Road in wetlands, maybe getting some input from,
Gotcha.
I don't know,
Gotcha. So you
somebody
like.
who knows what the actual impact is going to be.
So you're thinking more during development review, the Conservation Commission submits more recommendations.
Sure.
Am I
Yeah.
articulating that correctly? Okay.
Isn't that what LRAC does too? When they receive all sorts of things,
Right. So they make them
and they make
only during the
comments.
scenic along
Yes,
the Lamp
scenic
Road. Yeah.
wild ways. of
Right.
ways.
So in Newmarket, typically the only time the conservation would send their opinion to the planning board is when there's any type of wetland fill
Right.
Or impact the buffer.
or impact of the buffer. Correct.
But
Yeah.
there's also discussions of revision of the ordinance, that
Right.
the TRCs.
That's right. The TRC was supposed to be I didn't see that written in, I didn't see that written into it, who
No,
the makeup of that will be.
At that meeting, we're revising it to add specifically conservation.
Yeah.
So,
It is.
in the beginning, it was like a bunch of people, and then almost who were, the chair of the TRC could designate it, but now we made it more specific, where it'd be a Concom member involved there.
And that'll be before the planning board even sees it as a full board.
Right.
So they'll have a TRC prior,
Yeah.
where a Concom member will be there. And, yeah, I mean, I'll try to do better too, at bringing things to the Conservation Commission.
No,
And
sorry.
no, that one, I think I mentioned a little bit, but there wasn't a wetland buffer impact, which is what we typically
Yeah.
brought to the Conservation Commission.
You just gotta stop working in Newmarket.
What's that?
You gotta stop working in Newmarket.
Me?
Yeah, your firm.
Oh, yeah. that's
So
right.
you have to recuse
So we-
yourself.
Yeah, I know, so we have to recuse
Yeah.
ourselves. Yeah. Thanks for the reminder.
That's right.
We'll talk anymore about
Yeah.
this. I
And
don't
the TRCs aren't a huge, time commitment. They're usually not more than an hour and a half.
Right, correct.
So it's not too difficult.
Yeah. Usually during the day though.
That's
They
the
are
thing.
during the day.
Yeah, so the officials in town can be present.
So, David, you said same as now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I may have looked at it wrong, I'm not sure, but it just seems like we do have a pretty good percentage of open space compared to other areas. And as stuff opens up, more of it might be, I don't know if the open space has to be like conservation land, or if it's just, I know a lot of apartments or complexes, they have to have so much open space, but it's not particularly conservation, but it's still included. And I felt that, well, yeah, it's there, and as things get built, there'll still be more open space, but maybe the same percentage as we have now. I'm not
Gotcha.
sure that's-
Yeah, kind of like offset, if there's any type of development, it would offset somewhere
Yeah.
else. Yeah. Yep. No, thank you. Okay, now, Brian, so we got more trails, more access to open space, cleaner water, abundant wildlife, and recreation.
I just thought it was a list, so.
Yeah, no, it's good.
I don't have much to add to that.
Awesome. You have anything to add at this point? Or any thoughts in this discussion?
I think, thoughts are Sorry, I keep forgetting the mic. It seems like it's very clear that from the vision statement and like the consensus in the room that the work that has been done over the last 10 years is carrying through to a vision that still exists. And that's very much a balance of interest in the town, but also emphasizing the importance of our healthy ecology. So this is great, and I think I'm starting to see some strategies emerge too, in addition to the ones that we've brainstormed. So yeah, this is great.
Thank you. Oh, there we go. Thank you. So this is the end right now. So we'll be following up. Which is the next steps autumn for the commission, maybe the open space draft at some point. That's going to be in May. We'll have the draft ready. I think we should talk about this right now. Alan suggested helping out as well with the draft. So we just want to make sure that the commission is good with that, for Alan helping out. I mean, with I think we discussed this, so.
Yeah, I'm just as a
Yeah.
volunteer, I'm gonna help
Yeah,
get the draft, I mean, do some edits or whatever.
Right.
Whatever would be helpful,
part of the team.
part of the team,
Sure.
because we're running out, time's running out, basically.
Yep.
We need to get it.
So yeah, so you'll have.
Is that
a-
okay with everybody if I,
Yeah.
Of course.
For the healthy ecology.
for the
Yes.
healthy, for the health of the ecology?
So yeah, so we'll be following up with you soon. And if you got, again, if you have any questions, you can email Autumn, myself, or Carrie Deers. She's, I think you all know, does Angela Cleveland left us to move on to Bethlehem and start a new path. And Carrie Deers has been brought in to SRPC. She's going to be specifically for this project, and I think one more project elsewhere in the region. So she'll be here for the duration. We look forward to working with her more and helping us out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, very good. So just one other piece, remember we worked on the land acquisition criteria checklist. And I think I sent you, Autumn updated it, and then I sent it out with a few edits I had. We got a lot more stuff to do tonight, so maybe if everybody can just, take a look at it sometime again, you should have it. And if you've got any final edits, you can send them to me or Autumn, and we'll get that wrapped up. And then Bart suggested we will probably, in our May meeting, have a project to present, a land acquisition project, so we could actually use this form, test it on a project before we actually finalize it to see what happens when we use the form. So just a heads up on that, so, yeah.
Can I ask a question on that? To go back to the financial report, is there any definitive answer on the open space, remaining open space bond that we might?
Yes. So the project that's coming, there will be a request to the Conservation Commission for the town, and as you know, we have 130,000, but we've been giving out a fair bit to projects, so if we gave out a lot to this project, we wouldn't have much left in our account. So there was an open space bond, if you remember back in 2002-ish, $2 million bond, and we acquired land and some other things, and there's about $89,000 in change left in that open space bond. And I've spoken with Bart and Steve Fournier, the town manager, and we can apply for that, to use all that money for this project. Well, the town council has to approve it, so the process would be, we'll discuss the project, I think it will be in public in May. If we support the project, we would take a vote to support the project and also presumably a funding amount. And we could then forward that request to the town council for that. It may be that we also want to have a little bit out of the conservation fund. I don't know yet quite the funding level, but I suspect we're going to want that entire amount from the open space bond, which is actually kind of a good thing. It would then close out that bond, which has been around since 2002. So just...
I'm sorry.
I'll be excited to present that project. I think it's a very exciting project. So I think that's all we have for the master plan stuff. Thank you again to Autumn and Bart.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to move along to committee reports. Town council.
Yes, Councilor Conley was reelected as chair, and I was reelected as the vice chair. We did some voting on just some procedural rules nothing too crazy. We made it so that we talked about nomination reappointments earlier in the meeting, so people who come to see the meeting don't have to sit through the whole thing to sit through that. And let's see, we also had our first public reading of a resolution to create a public transport advisory committee, looking at kind of like the coast bus system and trying to bring back public transportation in the town. Again, this is first reading, so that'll be up for discussion again at the next meeting, which is, that's not my calendar, whatever, next Wednesday. And believe that is it for us. It was a short meeting, mostly just going over procedural rule changes and appointing officers.
Public Transportation Advisory Committee?
It's early, so, but that's the working title.
Any questions for Brian? All right, planning board, Jeff.
We had 2 meetings since the last Conservation Commission meeting. At one of them, we did approve the Railroad Street project, and I think the only concern of the Concom would be the impact to Moonlight Brook, and there's a large underground retention thing that I think I told you guys about last time, and still some questions about how the water was going to actually flow off the property should it overwhelm the infiltration system, and that was a condition of approval if they were to approve the town engineer, the path of the water coming off the property and how it may impact the neighbors. But that project moved forward. Again, I was reappointed to the conservation. Patrick Reynolds was reappointed to energy. He's a pretty active member of the energy committee, which is good. At the moment, he's a definite conservation advocate, as you all know. The other thing, in Bart, I don't know if this is something, but that other committees can come to, but there's a community event on the zoning change at the mill space. And were you going to talk about that?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just, because I know it was like people that live in the neighborhoods will be invited to that event, and you had mentioned folks from boards can attend, or at least the planning board, so I don't know.
Yeah, I think whoever's interested, we really want to reach out to those folks for that change, who's going to be affected by the zoning change. To really understand, if it were to change, what are people comfortable with? So if people who came to just kind of explain what we're going to do here. Ivy Van, who's our consultant, and myself, and then I think Carrie Deers is going to be there too from SRPC. We have these cards. So basically it shows different housing types and developments. Thank you. And we basically will sit down with folks and just understand, what they are comfortable with, what they would like to see, what they can see fit in their neighborhood or not. So we have qualitative data for those folks who are going to be affected by the zoning change, to take in and kind of and put into the zoning. So it's a reflection of what the neighborhoods want. So that's the idea. So that's going to be at the mill space on the 17th and 18th. Whoever's in that neighborhood should be receiving a postcard soon with a link, a QR code to register. So
That's April or May?
April 17th and 18th.
This is for the North Main.
Yep, North Main area. So if people from the commission or any boards want to attend, they're more than welcome. If there's more than 3 of you, 4 of you, then I'm going to have to post it. So that's why I just want to know, because it'll technically be a quorum if you go to the same time slot. So if you are interested in going, just let me know what time you are, and so I just figure out if it needs to be posted or not.
I would definitely go.
So
That's my neighborhood.
You've been sent a postcard.
I have?
You should be receiving it soon. Check
right.
your mail.
And as will the town council be looking to the boards for any input on rezoning? Like
Yes.
a letter of support or non-support from the Conservation Commission and the Planning Board?
I mean, I don't think we were planning, any letter of support or any letter, issuing concerns we'll look at. I don't think it's like a requirement to move forward at this point, but yeah, if everyone here feels strongly about something for or against, definitely let us know. We'll take it into consideration.
Yeah. So typically, when it's a town initiative zoning change, usually what happens is, the planning board looks at it first and then sends it to town council. And then they'll have the planning board's recommendation for any town initiative zoning changes.
What's the timeline? Remind me, so would it,
So,
not before our next meeting, or would it?
I would say probably June
So we
meeting.
could talk about it if some people go and want to report
So
back?
we can definitely talk about the May meeting, because it'll
Yeah.
already happened
Yeah.
by then, that event itself. But the development of that ordinance is going to happen in May and June.
Okay.
And we anticipate the public hearings happening like throughout the summer and the fall, so.
Yeah, I might have missed that out, planning board. So at May, June, planning board will work on that zoning?
Yeah,
ordinance?
so, yeah,
And
we'll
then
start,
push it to town council.
it'll probably be, we'll work on in May, June, July, and then we could further develop it throughout, the fall as well. So I would say in the fall time period, it will have a plan, like, the earliest I can see it is a planning board recommendation and town council vote in the fall.
So what I was thinking was, I know that the Concom has drafted letters of support and non-support, and maybe through the planning board rep to get the message to the planning board. And what I think would be beneficial for the planning board would to get the input from the Conservation Commission if the Concom saw the area of rezoning,
Yeah.
so that they could assess environmental impact of rezoning potentially, and provide that to the planning board so that we would have comments in the development of the zoning.
Yeah, I think the way I see that being most beneficial is that, you have a first draft that's presented to the Conservation Commission, we do a site walk, and then we kind of look at, all right, what could be here in these areas and where it might not make sense, and then make those recommendations to the planning board.
Sounds
Yeah,
good.
yeah, I think that'd be a good approach,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's all I have.
We had two things. One is, if you recall, we have prime wetlands mapped in Newmarket and in our zoning and a buffer. And it was done quite a while ago, and so we're not sure the maps are, really current. Maybe we should relook at them. So Mark West is a wetland scientist who did the original mapping. And he's available to do a new mapping. And so we've asked him for a proposal to update the maps, and they're using different, a little bit more sophisticated aerial photography and some field work, I'm sure. So he's going to provide that quote hopefully next week. And there's something called the PREPA, Piscataqua River Estuaries Project grant program, and that grant is due April 26th. And they will fund prime wetlands updates for a municipality. So with your permission, we will get a quote from Mark West and apply to PREPA. Bart and I will work on the application and submit it April 26th, if that sounds okay to you. It's prime wetlands mapping is sort of a collaboration usually between Conservation Commission and planning, so we would apply for that if that sounds good to people. So and the idea I think then is perhaps Stratford Regional Planning Commission would help in terms of if there's any need to evaluate the actual existing ordinance, not to make it weaker, but to make sure it's if there's any need to actually improve it, to make it stronger, I think,
Yeah,
right?
I think at bare minimum that we would have the overlay codified. So, what it is before, I think we're referencing specific documents, so we're just updating
Right,
that.
yeah,
So, within the ordinance, so that would have to ultimately go to town council as a zoning amendment, but pretty straightforward one.
Even new maps, right?
Yeah,
The
it's
new
the
map
reference.
is a change to the.
It's a
Yeah.
change, yeah.
Right.
And
Unless it's where in the way, which it isn't.
because my understanding is the map is there's a, I've seen different people, professionals interpret it differently, whether the map itself is literally the jurisdictional line, or if the jurisdictional line for the limit of a prime the portion of the wetland considered prime can be marked in the field by a professional after the maps, or if it literally is the line on the map.
I guess it's how the zoning's written. If you're referencing a map saying it's this document, based on this document, then it's that document. I think if you're worded in a way where you say something to that effect, where a professional could make that determination, then yes.
I've seen it interpreted both ways in this town.
Yeah.
And accepted by the boards both ways.
Yeah, well, I think we'd rather be consistent, so.
These will be digital maps, so before they were paper, I think the conservation tried to pay to have them digitized, so this will.
Yeah, we got them
getting
updated, at least we got them online was our goal.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
so these will be,
Just an
obviously,
outdoor.
new ones will be digitized, and, yeah, that'll be part of the grant.
And will they be subject to one question I have is that like there are state guidelines, I think, if I'm not mistaken, as to what can and cannot be considered a prime wetland. Is that only at a state level? Because I know they changed the characteristics that, like, they can't be narrower than 50 feet at any point. And they have to be some acres, like there was a criteria that they can modify. And I love the effort, and I would like to see it happen, but I get nervous that, like, they're less,
Yeah,
like, can't include as much now as a prime wetland maybe as it used to. Like, I don't know for sure. Mark would obviously.
yeah.
Yeah, Mark would know,
Mark would certainly
yeah.
know. He's obviously in Florida, and I'm not. I just kind of peripherally.
So is the prep application fairly straightforward?
Yeah, it's not too bad, it's, well, I hope not, I think we can,
I think it's,
Okay.
I mean, it's a very specific
Pretty
project, it's
straightforward.
not like, I
Yeah,
think we can probably
okay.
get the language from various places, and, yeah. And then there's just a budget sheet. and,
Well, thank you.
we record it, so.
One more question.
Yeah,
Is the state currently providing buffer coverage?
no, so the
Okay,
state
that does
doesn't,
not
but we
cover-
have it, so we
Yeah.
can keep it, we don't
Yeah,
have
I
to.
just didn't know if this is a time period where we could actually get state coverage now.
No, I don't
Because
think,
we
I
lack
think
it.
the state got rid of the buffer in the prime wetlands.
right, we have one in our
Oh, we have
ordinance.
one.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's good, okay, and then, so New Hampshire Municipal Association has various workshops, and there's one May 9th, I think I sent this out, it's called A Hard Road to Travel, it's about plastics roads, which can be pretty interesting in New Hampshire, and you can either go in person or virtual. It's Thursday, May 9th from 9 to 1:30, so those of you might be available. So Barn has a little bit of money, if anyone is interested in attending. Does anybody think they might want to attend? Wish me to do it virtually, but,
That's a good.
have you done it?
I actually haven't. Is it done by students? We
Yeah,
have-
Steve Buckley
Steve
and Jonathan Cowell.
We have a book. That's hard to drop.
I think if anybody, does anybody want to attend? Susan? Or-
No, if I do, I'll go through work.
Okay.
The town is.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. I might do it, if
Okay.
nobody else is interested, I might.
Just let me know.
Yeah. All right, I think that's all I had for planning. Do you have anything else for planning?
No.
Okay, awesome. Okay, Riverfront Advisory Committee, Shanda Park. We have to do a couple things. One is the Arts in the Park application for a permit application, which they do every year, for July 2nd to August 20th, but not on July 30th, from 5 to 8 p.m. for the Arts in the Park concert
But
series.
is that one day a week?
Yes.
It
One night a
doesn't
week.
say that on the application.
Yeah, it's,
Thursdays.
yeah, Thursdays.
Yeah.
All at
I mean,
Thursdays.
in the
that what you
application, it
said?
says every day from July 2nd to August 20th. And I knew it wasn't,
Good
but-
call.
Is that community building?
So if everyone's okay, I'd like to have a motion to approve this application.
So
I'll make the motion, oh,
Okay,
I'll second it.
Second by Tom. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Awesome. We do the porta potty and so forth for that. Bart, do you want to talk about the signs? You got a handout on the
Yeah.
Moonlight Brook proposed sign.
So recently went back to the Riverfront Advisory Committee. I'm gonna steal one. And at the committee, We discuss, one, there's gonna be a wildlife, sign, speaking to not feeding wildlife. That one's still being worked on, so I'll come back to you soon, probably for the next meeting. And this one was approved by the Riverfront Advisory Committee, so before it changed, it used to be blue, and it said notice up top, and it had, and then different language that the commission changed. So really, the commission, before it said proceed at your own proceed with caution, the commission suggested, Conservation Commission, enter at your own risk. And then with additional feedback from the Riverfront Advisory Committee, we changed notice blue color to caution yellow. So it's just more intuitive from different mediums. And then the QR code is going to lead to the Conservation page, Commission's page, and we're going to have the different resources there on what the town's doing to help fix the problem, and any additional resources that we find relevant that explains the problem and how we're trying to problem solve and fix the problem. So what I'm asking is, do you like the sign? Do you need the amendments? If not, then we can go ahead and get these printed and
So this is Moonlight Brook, so we're talking about one sign as you cross the walkway there, right there, and then
Yep.
maybe one where if people park where the EV charger is, so people can walk down there, and these will be on like metal posts.
Yep.
Yeah, so a couple things, but just, is everybody okay with the language?
Yeah.
Okay. We're talking about the D-channel metal posts, right? Did you ask Rick?
I hadn't seen them today, so
Okay.
no. But
So, are we talking just 8.5 by 11, or we want
we
bigger?
can go this way.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
just- right,
that's
if
fine.
we're
It's
gonna
just
go-
PowerPoint.
Yeah, it's probably going to be vertical.
Yeah.
I think this is our dime from the Shanda Park Fund if we're willing to fund these two signs. Are
Right.
we talking about 8.5 by 11s?
I would say similar to this. Yeah,
Okay.
8 by 11.
So that's like probably $50 a piece, two signs plus the D channel. So we have plenty of money in the Shanda Fund. So we don't know how much it'll cost, but if we can make a motion to approve, it's going to be like a couple of dollars, I think.
Are they gonna, they're be facing either way, right?
So they'll be like, okay, here's your walkway, here's the brook, here's the walkway,
Right.
and then here's where people park, and the kiosk is here. So there'll be one here and there'll be one here,
Okay.
facing out as you walk by.
I think they need to face both directions because people walk in from Crichton Street as well,
They will see
on the
it.
other side.
So yeah, the way
Yeah.
we have it is, okay, the land bridge going over
Yeah,
Moonlight Brook?
yeah.
We're going to have one there
Right by you.
facing.
So it'll be facing the
Facing,
walkway
exactly.
instead of facing the oncoming.
Exactly,
Right,
and then
Okay.
the other one's going to be the side to the kiosk
Okay.
near the parking lot, and
Yeah.
they'll face us out. The only way you'll see the back of it is you're actually in Moonlight Brook, and we're trying to prevent, so,
All right, cool.
yeah.
So I think we'll need to pay for the printing and then potentially two channel posts. And so without putting a number, is it okay if we make a motion to approve funding from the Shanda Fund for these two signs?
I move that we use money from the Shanda Fund to fund signs for Moonlight Brook.
I'll second it.
Second, any discussion?
So this is an action purely by the Conservation Commission, or is it by the town?
Conservation Commission. We, as a town, there's support from administration, planning office, Conservation Commission. Everyone's supportive of this. There wasn't official action in town council, but we've been in discussion with the town manager, and he's supportive of this. And I'm supportive of this as well in my office, and it appears that Conservation Commission is as well. LRAC would be appreciative of this as well, and Riverfront Advisory Committee as well supports it. So I think there's unanimous support, at least from town government.
And if I only ask because I think about a criteria, or somebody saying, all right, now take them down. And we're like, oh, we're not ready, show us the study results, or, you know, that's, I was just kind of curious what the coming, I'm in
It's,
support of putting them up, I just think about a criteria, reason, time.
yeah, I
Take them down.
think it's when the commission feels that enough evidence has been provided that it warrants their removal.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, that's a town of Newmarket sign. It's not like
Right.
we don't have the authority to do enforcement, or, I mean, it's the town's responsibility to.
Yeah, and there's no enforcement here.
Yeah.
It's
No,
just like,
this is
be
proceed,
Yeah.
be
It's
careful.
at your own risk.
Yeah, so if we said prohibited, no swimming, then the
Yeah.
health officer gets
Yeah.
involved.
Yeah, no,
So,
I get
yeah.
that, so I was just curious. So it'll kind of be, come back to this group, the
Yes,
commission.
I think so. I mean, it's
when it comes to-
within their purview, I think, as stewards of Shanda Park and Moonlight Brook flowing through it. I would think so. I mean, you know, town council obviously, you know, they could if they wanted to, but I think they give deference ultimately to the commission. Not going to speak for the council, but I think they would definitely want their opinion.
Good. Okay, we have a motion on the table. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Very good. All right, I think that was it for that. Okay, you sign, okay, we did those two things. Okay, other committee reports. Julie, do you want to say?
Like I said,
That's right.
I was away, I was skiing with my dad in Colorado, so.
Sounds good. No problem.
We'll get to the next one.
Yep, any other, anything for 300?
300, we are still pulling everything together, so not much to
Okay,
report.
no problem. Okay, we'll move on then. Trails. As you know, Old Lee is a Class A trail from Neal Mill Trail over to Newfields, Class A trail as well. And there's some pretty severe erosion there. And so I've already had him once, but I'm going to take him out again. Greg DeSanto, who's done our trails maps, and he's also a trail expert and does trail work. He's part of Martin Forestry, and they do a lot of trail work for SELF. So we're going to go back out there and look at it again. He's got, I think I sent you the proposal of where the water is draining across from this vernal pool and then running down the trail. He wants to do he calls a rock dip, so it would be a shallow dip, and then put in some material and crown it. So I also forgot to take him, I want to take him across the bridge because there's a couple really bad spots toward Newfields, and so I'm just going to show him the whole darn thing. And we can apply to LRAC. I haven't talked to them about it, but I think they apparently have a lot of money, stewardship money, so I'm hoping, and this flows into the Piscataqua River, which is part of their purview. So again, I don't know, we can request up to $7,000. I don't think it'll be that much, but I'd like to have your permission again to apply for that to LRAC after I get a quote back from Greg and what his proposal for that project. You won't be able to get done anyway until things dry out, which we don't know when that'll be. But so if that's okay, I don't need a motion, but if you think that's okay, we'll work on that. Somebody, if you've been out there, all the trails out there are wet, and someone, I don't know who is doing the hoeing, and it's
I was
actually
wondering
working.
what happened, yeah. Where the new stone had been put down, right? And there's
Yeah,
that
and then
like big,
actually, even on the Old Lee Trail, someone did it, so it's actually draining across, so it's actually, it's kind of actually working.
I thought that it was nature, but it looked too
Yeah,
specific.
no,
to
some
not-
little woodland
Yeah.
elf goes out there.
I don't know, no.
I'll probably,
There's some done there, right by the bridge.
yeah.
Right there.
Yeah. So part two of that is, as you know, if you've been out there, the bridge is, my favorite word, kittywampus, because it sort of slants. And so Lindsay Butler, our town engineer, is working with an engineer on the bridge on Ashwamp, and they're going to go out and look at this bridge. And he's just going to see if he thinks there's some minor repair that can happen to level it. And then get suggestions, and see if it's some simple stuff, maybe the town DOT, DPW can do those improvements. If it's some bigger engineering thing, that's a whole other story. But so that's in the works as well. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I'll get another one later, but we'll do that later. So, any questions about that? Trails? Anything else on trails? I got something else for Wigan Farm, but that's comes later. Okay, Ash Swamp Road, Turtle Crossing Aquatic Passage. I just put that on there because it's a big project. We're hoping to meet with DPW and Lindsay next week just because she's working on some big grants to actually do the planning and the construction. So those grants will presumably go in the next 3 or 4 months. But because it won't happen this season, we want to meet with them and see if there's anything we can do this season to prevent massacre on Ash Swamp Road, essentially. So I think Jeff, we just have to wait, but we're hoping to meet next week with them and see if there's things we can do. So we'll get back to you on that.
Will the Neil Mill culvert be included in anything? I know there's only one house there, so I know it's not like
Yeah,
super
actually,
priority, but the town is coming down.
I know, and I
just as
need
much,
to,
yeah.
so I've put that forward as like the next priority because I
Yeah.
think it is as well. And I have to get back to SRPC because they have the counters and I want them to put a counter out there to start seeing what the traffic is to show that there is a lot of
Yeah.
traffic out there.
Definitely.
And I don't know when when they're going to repave that road because when they do that, they should really do it at the same time.
Like, I know my neighbor calls frequently and says, "Don't pave it." So.
Oh, I know, and
Yeah.
Joff, who lives at the end,
funny.
doesn't want to pave
Yeah.
because
They think it'll speed cars up. People already fly down that road
Yeah.
anyway. So it would do.
yeah,
I mean, it'd be good to pave.
yeah.
You mean just for, the town keeps going out because the beer keeps plugging in? or
Yeah,
something?
yeah. I think it's
So
almost
not
as often as they do
necessarily
Ash Swamp, they come in and do that as
Yeah, it's a
well.
totally perched, it's a terrible, it's two
Yeah.
side-by-side perched
Yeah.
culverts on the downstream side, and it's really not effective at all, and it's,
So that's not even something you'd look at to try a beaver series, because the culvert really needs to come out, because it's just an
yeah.
inadequate culvert.
It needs to be
because it's
it needs to be an
perched.
open bottom box
Yeah.
culvert and rebuilt, so I think we're gonna have to look for, I'm hoping this Ash Swamp can go, and then let's
Yeah.
see if we can then get this into the next. Yeah, so, hoping, but that's good.
Just curious,
Yeah. But we need to get the trail counters out there, so
Yeah.
I'll make a note of that. Okay. All right, land stewardship, Heron Point boundaries and trees. I can't remember where we left this last time, but the abutter, John Steer, is actually probably doing a boundary survey just to recheck his lines. And then I did meet with the Heron Point Estates community, a couple people, and they were already having some trees taken down. The boundary's a little confusing in some places, and so where they think the boundary is, the trees are on their property. But where we think it is, the tree might be on the town property, so I just said, well, and some people were going away, so I said, well, if you've got some more trees to take down, and we have some trees we have to take down, maybe we'll just, we can work out some partnership and share some costs or something, but I don't have any costs at the moment. So we kind of have to figure that out, so. Just trying to be good neighbors, and, the boundary's really tight to some of the houses out there, and it's not really their fault. Any questions about that?
I know we had talked about potentially getting some survey work done, but I think that's on hold
I think
until
it's all
John is done.
Right, because I think one of the corners we're concerned about is his corner too, so
Yeah.
maybe he's gonna get that resurveyed, so that will help us. Piscasset River Lozelle, we have some stuff going on there. You want us to chat about that?
Yeah, sure. As with every spring, the fence is a mess. We've got 6 or 8 rails that have broken. And Ellen and I were kind of talking about how are we going to solve this long term, and whether or not it would be more beneficial to replace part of the wooden rail fence with, I think initially we were talking boulders. We've tossed around granite posts with chains in the parking area. We're thinking keeping the main rail fence as you drive in, but then along the arborvitaes in the parking lot, taking those down, as well as perpendicular to the parking spots, taking those down as well, and possibly the one behind the kiosk. So exploring that, and there's tons of trail work to be done out there after winter and the past storm that we had. so.
So the ones that are breaking the most are when people go in and park or the plow goes in and plows. And so we're constantly fixing those. So if just that row was the granite post with chains instead of breakable boards, that's one option. I know we checked that kind of thing out at Sliding Rock. We were
It's
talking
kind of
about
costly, but
that. Yeah, but it's more of a one-time.
The posts, the granite posts.
and the chain, yeah.
Mm.
I mean, yeah, it's more expensive than wood, but not in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, we're, a couple $100 a pop, right, for the posts?
Yeah, I mean, the other option between the granite posts, you could do really good cedar posts.
You can do cedar posts, you can do steel posts. There's a whole bunch of different stuff.
Cedar posts don't last. Even the vertical posts on those cedar, those are locusts usually. Those that are there, they'll probably last.
The ones that hold up
The posts,
the.
actually.
Yeah, the
rails.
locust.
Those posts will probably, if you
So
take
we
the
just-
rails out, those posts will probably be there for a
So
while.
we could just put chains on that.
Well, yeah,
Usually they're, those aren't
Or that.
really rough, are they?
No, it's really the rails either fall out because the posts separate or they break from.
Break out a knot.
What's that?
They break out a knot,
Yeah.
they rot
Yeah.
around just a little bit around the
Yeah.
knot. so.
Okay, well, do you want to look at maybe just the chains and see
Yeah.
if that would work? Check with the fence company or something?
Yep.
Okay.
We've got a couple, I don't know, some maple trees, I don't know, trees, like if you put like 3 trees along one side, I don't know.
It is, I mean, I guess we'd have to talk to that neighbor to see if I'm sure they wouldn't, I imagine they wouldn't mind.
Or
Well,
even
I
just
mean-
cedar post, even more bird, like these cedar posts with bird houses.
Yeah. I mean, from
it's,
the with trees, it would work for the foreseeable future, but,
They're gonna
once
fall.
they grow, I mean, you're either dealing with it now, because you have to put them so
Yeah.
far away from the driveway that they don't
Yeah.
encroach on it when they grow in, or you deal, or don't deal
yeah.
with them growing in.
Yeah, it could be those existing posts and then maybe some additional posts in between. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, I like granite posts, but they're often not set well, and
Yeah.
Yeah, they
start
sort of-
leaning and tilting, and it's
I
like,
like the idea of wooden
Green
posts.
and
Yeah.
I think that, we did them at Schottmeyer Park, and I think they had to go back out the next year and straighten them all,
Yeah,
fix
yeah.
them all down the
No, that's
right-hand
good.
side.
Good suggestion. Okay, you want to just research some more and come back? What do you want to do about,
We're gonna need a trail day.
yeah, do you
Yeah.
just want to see when people send out an email or something, see if people are available?
Yeah, we could post it on
Yeah,
Nature Groupie and
but you need a,
set a date.
okay. David, are you interested in helping out at
What was this?
Piscassic, Loisel?
Piscassic Loisel
The trail
behind.
needs some tree work on the
Yeah.
trail.
All right. We talk dates.
Yeah.
I'll send an email
Sounds
about
good.
dates.
Very good. Okay, Wigan Farm. So we did a few repairs on the bridge. We put some hardware cloth because it was very slippery. And one of the boardwalks was sinking into the mud. There's muddy there, so we put a rock under it. And then one of the as you walk across down the right, the top railing was completely broken, so we put a board to kind of stabilize it, which I think are fine, but I think the bridge needs to be rebuilt. I think it's time to rebuild that bridge. It's been a while. It's a really funky shape now. The supports are kind of funky, and it's steep, so it's not really accessible. That's what we talk about, accessibility. So Greg, I'm meeting him tomorrow there first. He's going to look at the old Lee, and so he's going to look at the bridge, because they do bridge work as well. And so I want to talk to him about how he would consider rebuilding that bridge, probably helical piers, which are these metal piers, piers you put in wetlands now instead of other things, and see what he comes up with a proposal. It would probably be a little bit wider, and it would slope, so hopefully we can use the boardwalk that we rebuilt, but it would just be, we might have to, take it up and put it back down or something, but, and I suggested if they can do it and have a design, that we could have volunteers help actually build it. So I just want to see what you thought about that, if you think that's a good idea to
Yeah.
rebuild the bridge. And again, I think we could apply to LRAC. They help acquire that property. And again, it's Tuttle Swamp, which helps people get out on properties, which they seem to be pretty interested in, so.
Sounds good.
So we'll look at that. All right, events. Speaking of Wigan Farm, so we have Saturday, April 20th from 9 to noon. We're going to put up the kiosk and put the new interpretive sign. There's some cleanup in the parking lot. Depending on how many people show up, we could do some brush work along the stone wall. So I put it up on Nature Groupie and I sent you the link, so if anybody's interested in helping out, you can just sign up there. I think I've got 3 people signed up. I don't know who they are, but great. Okay, and then roadside cleanup that Tony Weinstein organizes is April 21st, which is a Sunday. And so usually you pick a road, and if you're interested, and then just let Tony know, and then you use the blue bags. So if anybody wants to do roads, take a bag, and we'll take 1 or 2 bags, whatever you like. And then you just put them out. It's Sunday, but you can do it Saturday and just put the bag out. And they'll pick it up on Monday, so it just has to be out by Monday morning, the 22nd. Find the
There it is. I'm like, how long is this?
Take the whole roll.
Take it out.
Ambitious.
And
Else?
a couple more events. The Newmarket Cares Day, which is where we get the students from the high school. They come out. This is a Friday, May 3rd. And I'm thinking Heron Point cleanup. There's the part when you go on the road on the right. There's a lot of junk in there, and I think it would be a great opportunity they like to do that kind of stuff. So again, it's a Friday, so if anybody's interested, May 3rd, it'll be probably 9 to 12, I think. But we'll send more as we get closer. And then the Backyard Bash, which is this new annual event we've talked about, is Friday, August 2nd. From 5 to 8 p.m. And I think it would be great if we could have some sort of table this year and some information, so we have some time to plan for that. So that would be great. If people can put on some creative thinking caps about what we might want to have there. At the Oyster thing last fall, we did a plant ID and some other stuff.
I think that would go well.
I
at the
think Tom,
Backyard Bash.
yeah.
There'll be more kids.
Yeah.
You know, we'd get the kids involved.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, okay.
So what is the date, time again?
August 2nd, it's a Friday, it's from 5 to 8 p.m. I think is it always like at the Beanie, one of the fields in town. It rained last year, so, yeah.
down behind the high school.
All right, I'm just checking all my things here. Oh, yeah, and one last thing, which I meant to talk about earlier, then it's almost 9. So as I mentioned, we have $200 left in the supply line, which we basically haven't spent our supplies this year in our general fund. So one of the things I'm thinking about, if you think it would be helpful to you, is I was thinking about creating a 3-ring binder, not quite this big probably, but for each of the commission members, for each of us, that would have all the pertinent information, like we have guidelines on how we run meetings, we have our non-public minute process, we would have all the spreadsheets of all the properties, whether it's fee, easement, executory interest, some maps. There's guidance like how to do a conservation easement monitoring, basically just stuff
Like
that
a
I think would be
handbook.
really helpful for everybody, handbook for everybody to have. You could bring to the meeting if you want. So I was thinking of creating those. It would be very easy. It'll be easy to create. I got to buy the notebooks and I just come here and print everything. But if you think that would be helpful,
Yeah,
I'd like to. I don't think it'll be 200, but if we just say we'll use that supply line to do that, and I can bring them to the May meeting.
yeah,
Does
that'd
that
be
sound
great.
good?
Right.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Great. All right, I'm out of ideas. I'm ready to go. Anybody else? Anything to finish up? All right. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right.
Second.
Yeah.
Third, fifth.
You got lots of motions to do that.
Pick somebody.